Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, it's Michael B, and it's Monday. You know what that means. Time for another episode of Chill and Chat with Michael B. And I am very excited tonight because I've got a longtime friend of mine from the YouTubes joining me because he is a big fan of new products coming to market and especially the Alice Goes to Wonderland Amusements home pinball. So I'm very excited to have him. Tonight, we're doing a little bit more celebrating. Last week, we were celebrating, the people in home arcade that were doing third party stuff that was really making the community better. Tonight, we're celebrating for a different reason because we've had a pretty good couple of weeks in home arcade where the wait was totally worth it for two products that people have been waiting on a very long time now. The Wonderland Amusements, Alice Goes to Wonderland, and of course the iconic arcade. We now have on hands or hands-on hands-on experience with both, and so far Kickstarter holders and pre-order holders are very happy, and it's good to see in the home arcade community. So we're going to take a look back at those experiences and then talk about what's next for the company. This should be a fun show. At least I'm going to have fun. Hopefully that comes across and you guys have fun as well. Welcome to Chill and Chat with Michael B. My assets aren't working right tonight, so let's see how this goes. All right, guys, I am so excited about this. This is a person that you can only get for a portion of the year. Now, I spend more time than probably anybody else on YouTube with this individual, but not on this show. On another show we do Friday nights. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the Velveteen Sounds of one Detroit Love. Detroit Love, how the hell are you tonight, man?
What up, YouTube? What's going on, everybody? Good evening. I
This
am doing
isn't
fantastic, brother.
this isn't Friday. What are you doing here?
And sporting Fox on top of that,
Yeah, look at that. Awesome. So thank you so much for willing to come on tonight, talk about these. I always love talking about this stuff with you because you've been involved with home arcade right from the start. But one of the things I'm very interested with you and that you like to do, you really like to support new products. When a new product comes out, you really get behind it. Like even when Arcade One Up was doing the Killer Instinct Pro and you weren't even a big fan of Killer Instinct, you wanted to get it because it was a new product. It was that first pro model and you wanted to see what it was like. So it's very interesting. Now we've got two brand new products coming from Wonderland Amusements and also with Iconic Arcade. You're the perfect person to talk to about this. So thank you very much, Carl.
Yeah, and that's a good comparison, Michael B. Talk about that Pro Killer Instinct Pro, because the intent was I've heard people talk about these two products and they're saying, okay, I may not be a fan of this first one, but I want to see the second one, right? It's like great, they got their first product. We don't want it to be one and done, but with the Pro, they actually were one and done. We were hoping that they would get that line and carry it on and bring out some more products, but they never did. So hopefully that's not the fate for these two products because these are some really nice products. I'd like to see them make some more and bring them to market for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, unlike the Pro and Arcade One-Up's uncertain future at the time, which nobody could have predicted, now we're in a different place and both these companies look to flourish. So that's what I'm going to talk about later on during the night. I want to talk about where we go next and what the future holds for these companies. But before we do all that, Carl, we got to say hello to the people in the chat. You're used to this from Super Game Room dudes. I'll say it like P-Dubs. If you want your shout outs, make yourself known now. Of course, we've got people specifically looking for you and 19K Fox because of your hat. We've got Steve Sale. Jason Little Alien is here in the chat. Our moderator Extreme. We've also got Israel Gaming, Mad Dog, MDG. 19K Fox loves your hat. Retro Game Troopers, excited to see you here tonight. Gabriel Gray is very excited. Day one Iconic Arcade purchaser. Novasonic loves your hat. Jason NSS, who's a big Iconic Arcade fan, mainly for Double Dragon, kind of like me. He loves the hat and he loves seeing you too. We got Dragot here, MSU Rich, Midlife Arcade, Jay Pace making it up to me. Thursday night, Jazz Hands, Scott Bomer, Thumper Squid, DJ Beat Reviews, John Fritz, Retro Day Official, I don't know if I said it yet, Israel Gaming, Detroit Loves in the chat. Never see him Monday nights. That's weird. Cheese Bad is here. Amiga Kemi, very excited about this. Actually put it in the chat a little while ago. She is over in Australia. She couldn't order direct. So all her pieces, because she got like the top of the line model, have arrived, and it's going to cost $550 just to crate it. And that's before it even gets shipped. Can you believe that, Carl?
Wow.
I know, that's dedication right there. That's pinball money. Andy Anonymous is here. Who else do we got? The Real Zim is here. I heard you played golf last night, Carl. What was up with that?
Hey,
Did you get
man.
lost?
Hey, I hadn't been there for almost a year, I think, so I had to make an appearance. And I came in last as always, so nothing's changed.
E-Therap is here. Retro Ron RL. It's so nice to have new products to speak about. Tell me about it, Retro Ron. It's nice to see these finally get to market, and more than anything, it's nice to see the people that pre-ordered them be excited about what they're seeing. SD15 having FOMO over Wonderland Pinball. Looking forward to TMNT, which we'll talk about later. I think I said hello to Novasonic. Dan in St. Louis, always a pleasure to see you, my man. JJ is here. And I know Connell Hector is still waiting for his Wonderland Amusements pinball. That's one of the downsides. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody down the bottom. I see Elio here. Stanzy B. Unchained 81. Unchained, did you decide to get your Alice Goes to Wonderland pinball after? Let me know in the comments down below. And Neo's Arcade News is here. Neo's Arcade News, big part of breaking the whole Iconic Arcade preview with Kevin and Moat this week. Thank you very much for doing that, Neo. Great to see you. Mike forgot to read the first 11 comments. I did tonight. We're not doing that tonight because I forgot. And Carl came in as a late addition, and I was pretty excited about it. So, Carl, let's get started, brother. Let's talk about Iconic Arcade first. I know you're excited for Wonderland Amusements. You set up the Facebook group, yada, yada, yada. But we're going to start with Iconic Arcade, and I want to ask you, what was your opinion of Iconic Arcade this past week? We talked a little bit about Super Game Room dudes, but let me know your full thoughts here where P-Dubs won't cut you off.
Man, I always say it's about the cabinet. It's about the cabinet first because we can play these games anywhere, right? But most of us cannot get a cabinet that looks good at the size we want, right? None of us can go out there with wood and saws and laminates and, you know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So I always say at any good price, if you can get a great cabinet, that's half the battle because we can always change this stuff out, add 60 and 1, do all kinds of things with it, but we can't do any of that unless we have a great cabinet. And so that was my first impression. I really like what they did with the cabinet. Of course, I've built many cabinets that have a pie in it, so I'm always a fan of the pie. You can do some great things with those. So I am first impressions. I like what I'm seeing. I want to get them the same way with the other one thing that we're talking about. I want to get them in the real purchaser's hands, right?
Yep.
And see their hands before I can really get any real good feedback. But Moat is somebody I definitely trust when it comes to the fighting games. That's one of his passions, and he has a lot of great things to say about that. But first impressions out the gate, I like. Again, nothing's perfect. You're never going to please everybody with any product, no matter how hard you try. But out the gate, I think they did a great job. I'm glad to see it's finally. Again, I'd rather see it in the other people's hands, but finally to see this thing for the first time after I've called it vaporware on many occasions because it don't exist until we see it in hand, and we're one step closer to that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll go back to when they released these demo images, and this is really what put it over the top for me. This was what confirmed to me, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this. I mean, just this image, seeing the size, the shape of everything, I was very happy with it. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of that original Street Fighter II World Warrior arcade cabinet. I love the look of it. It's probably one of the nicest looking arcades from the front, even though it's only a conversion cab. Still, like, absolutely beautiful. Obviously, everybody knows my feeling on the side art. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But I did want to talk about kind of the fans' reactions and, more importantly, the pre-order holders' reactions. So first off, all the people saying this arcade was never going to come to market, it's real, and most of the people looking at it say they really like it. They say it's spectacular. So far, there's been an overwhelming positive reaction, mainly from pre-order holders and a lot of people that actually didn't buy the cabinet at first. They're pretty happy with it too. Of course, Moat did that great video where he went over the entire component, showed off the wood and stuff like that, and people love the build quality. So there was some questions. James Hates Everything brought up, and I kind of agreed with him. You'll notice from the cab, there's no prefab parts like plastic parts. And while some people are like, no one wants plastic in their arcades, that's a sign of a more professional build. This looks more like kind of like a custom home build, and other people are looking at it saying that's more like a real arcade, so they love it. Plus, it adds more weight and more size to the arcade, so it's something people like. The marquee is absolutely awesome, double printed, looks great on both the Street Fighter and the Street Fighter Alpha, and the monitor looks good. The monitor is really impressive. There was some concern when they switched from the 19-inch BOE 4x3 monitor to the Lenovo 16:9 widescreen. Talked about light bleed from the bezel, talked about how would the picture quality be, and it looks pretty good. So overall, I think it's a hit so far, and everybody seems to be pretty frigging happy with what they're seeing from Iconic Arcade from the limited exposure we've got so far from the demos.
Absolutely, and I like the subtle things that they've done. I like the shape of the control panel. I like the metal volume. I mean, we've been having these buttons, right, or clicks to get the volume. It's good to see a standard dial for a volume. So that's good to see. The power buttons, I like that they listened to some of the things that B Kong and others had mentioned when they saw the demo out in Vegas, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was out in Vegas. Who puts a power button up by the speaker grill? What is up with that?
Yeah, but it's better than where it was before, right? It was
always in the same place. The big difference they did before, it was this big red button. Now it's this really subtle black button. So, I mean, it's not really of consequence anymore. It was always kind of hidden, right?
Yeah, I still like it there versus the power button on the next product we're talking about. So, and when you compare those two, I'd much rather have it tucked up away.
Yeah, Dragot says plastic. LOL. Come on, guys. You laugh at this, but this is a real statement, man. Like, honestly, prefabricated molds for things like the controller box and other things like that costs an actual fortune to do, and that's long-term planning. So they actually saved money by not doing that. So while people are like, oh man, I would much rather have the MDF, something still to point out that it's less of a professional build compared to what you would see from other companies. I mean, every other company has done some kind of molded plastic. It's part of the process. It saves them money, it doesn't save them money. It saves them weight and stuff like that. So, you can have your opinions on that, but that's a real statement. I mean, it costs more to get those molds done.
Yeah, and I agree with the folks that are saying I would rather have the wood. I'd rather have these cabinets when at these sizes when you're fighting, especially with 2-player, or the game like this, it can get pretty physical with your combos and all the action you're doing. So I'd rather have more weight on the cabinet so it's not moving, sliding around. And I get what you're saying there. But that doesn't mean anything to me.
No, it's not a big deal, but I mean, I'm going to point out everything about it. I'm going to be fair. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. It's the wood that makes it good. You're not wrong, Neo's Arcade News. But, it's just the way I am. I'm going to cover all this stuff. Now, I did want to talk about got worse. Now, a lot of people are super happy with this, but I do want to point out a couple negative things about it. And I actually got a lot of hate after we did Super Game Room Dudes. My buddy Atul wrote me, and he was losing his mind. He was like, why you had to hate on this cab? I thought you were friends with John D. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? I didn't hate on the cab. And he was so upset about some of the negative things I said, but you've got to be fair in these. So here's how it got worse. Now, this is mainly for the people that weren't smart enough to pre-order, didn't get that $150 discount. We did find out from Kevin this past week that the price point looks like it's going to be $7.99. He did say he's going to try to get it down to $7.49, but the price point is going to go up. But the good news is, still free shipping. One area where, I mean, you can say it's a positive, you can say it's a negative, whatever it is. With the original cab, we were promised a 19-inch 4x3 BOE monitor. Now we're getting a Lenovo 24 to 16:9 IPS monitor. It does look good. There's no light bleed, so it shouldn't really be a big issue. Screen install is very do-it-yourself. Like, this is something you would see from like some kind of homemade cab. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because it's actually a really good thing. If anybody ever wants to replace the screen in it, should be a super easy replacement. It just doesn't look very professional. You know what I mean? Usually professional, you would see something decased and set up right. This looks kind of jammed in there. Do you have a problem with that or not, Carl?
I didn't. And then I'm used to seeing like Tulsa arcades,
Yeah.
mount bracket. So it falls in that line to me in my mind. Easy to install and does the job. So I don't have a problem. I mean, how often are you going to be inside the cabinet? So something like that, it would not get any points off for me at all. But I understand what you're saying.
It's none of these things are a big deal, guys. I'm really positive about these cabs, but you gotta call a spade and be fair, right? The other thing that changed is there's no deck protector. That's not a big issue either, because what they've gone with is it's a textured rub resistant panel, which should be more like the real arcades. That should be fine as long as it works. Time will tell. I got a good feeling that, seeing how Basic Fun just put out their what are they, arcade classics with rub resistance coating, seems to be holding up pretty good so far. I got a feeling this will be pretty good. Probably the biggest negative about this is the fact that online's not going to be ready at launch. Now, I've seen a lot of people fight back and say, not a big deal, doesn't matter at all. I don't give a shit about online, but you can't say online not being ready at launch isn't a big deal if you are the same people that screamed at the moon when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 online wasn't ready for the title game, and NFL Blitz online wasn't ready, right? Like, Carl, I know you didn't give a shit, and when we got online, it was great. But what about these other people that complained about that, but yet they're totally fine with this? What's the difference?
Well, I don't care about the people that complained about the previous thing. I care about the people who want to play online when they buy the cabinet, right? If that's what they're buying it for. I personally am not a big fan of online, because I'm never going to spend enough time with any of these games, whether it's on the console, whether it's on the cabinet, whether it's on my handheld, to be good enough to even compete with the people that live online, right? And so we talk about that even with the virtual pinball. The people that's on the top score leaderboards, their scores are so ridiculous compared to mine. Unless I'm comparing to my friends, that online stuff doesn't matter. But I don't have the skills to worry about online. So and I have people over, and so I'm playing with a fighting game. The biggest thing to me is to be able to have somebody next to you talking. You can get to talk some smack while you're smacking them around. That's what's huge to me. Me talking smack to somebody online, there's no satisfaction in that. So I'm a big smack talker. But I get it that people that want to play online is be a little disappointing that it's not there day one. They would be more disappointing if it never comes. So I'd rather have something delayed and do show up than to never be a possibility or never come.
So, update from Neo's Arcade News, who is in pretty close contact with John D all the time, said the goal is for the day one patch, but it's not going to be a full online rollout. Spectate will come later in stages, so it'll keep building. But that's good news. And like you said, Carl, as long as it's available early enough, and you're not like 6 months, 10 months into the process, I don't even think it's that big a deal. Like, how many games do we buy nowadays where there's a day one patch every single time we get a game because it needs it? As long as there's the ability to get a patch and your cab's not broken, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Do you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you can live with it. Again, as long as it gets there, better late than never.
Yeah. I will add one thing to it that I think a lot of other people aren't talking about from the original cab we saw, because this is a very unique pre-order, because what you pre-ordered is not what you're getting, right? This is a very different product. So you can argue whether or not you like it more or less. One thing I am a little disappointed by is take a look at the original screen with a 19-inch BOE monitor compared to the final product. Do you notice anything different about these screens?
Well, it would have helped if they would have had the same picture there, but
okay, that's a good point, Carol. Anyways, you own an iArcade, and iArcade did one thing that no other home arcade company did. That's just the little touch maybe no one else would care about, but I thought it was such a smart move. And Iconic Arcade initially, shown that they were going to do the same thing. So if you look between the bezel itself, the plexiglass bezel, and the screen, there was a little bit of separation, and there was almost like an area that led down to the screen that kind of gave it that CRT look. This is something that iArcade did and was absolutely beautiful. One of the coolest things they did. That actually got removed from the final process, and we have what we're familiar with from like the normal home arcade companies like Basic Fun and Arcade 1-Up, which is your plexiglass put directly on the screen. So you no longer get that inside beveling, edge to kind of give it that different look. Now, not a huge issue at all. It's just it's a little touch that would have made this so much cooler, right?
And for the record, the old way was on the left side there.
Yeah. The Street Fighter World Warriors, the old way, and the black is the scene from Kevin's preview of his most recently of his Street Fighter Alpha cab.
Yeah, the left definitely looks better.
Moat, I don't think you're listening, buddy. So that's Kevin's cab from this past week, and this is the original demo that came out. It had that bevel underneath the plexiglass, kind of like iArcade did, to give it kind of this lift off the screen.
Yeah, I think you're just talking about the one on the right. Is just a bad picture. I mean,
that's not my fault. That's Kevin's webcam. Super dimensional is right.
But no, I'm saying I like that separation that you clearly can see on the left side from the bezel to the screen. It does give it a more 3D or better look.
Yeah, I think Neo agrees as well. That bezel gap that they did right there with the original model was a little bit nicer. Again, not a huge issue, but I think looking at that in the original, that was a really nice touch that I hope they consider doing in future releases going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I was in Sam's Club the other day, and they had the wrestling game, the Basic Funds.
Yep.
What they call it, the Extreme, the bigger cabinet. What is it called, Michael? I don't have my video in front of me.
WrestleFest? WrestleFest Supreme Series?
Supreme, right, the Supreme. And I think it was like $649, which was on sale, of their normal price. But if I compare those two cabinets at the price for this one and that one, if people are willing to buy that WrestleFest at that price, this is a no-brainer to me, even at the higher price.
Yeah, I think so. Like, you're not wrong. This XT cab is even a step above what we've seen from the Supreme and Arcade 1-Up XL cabs. I talked to Moat, after he got his cab, and I was like, "What do you think of it, man?" in a private message, and he was like, "I think it's better than the Pro cab, the KI Pro cab by a mile." And that's saying something, because that was $1,000 cab compared to this one. people are getting for $550 if they pre-ordered, and then still if you're buying them, it's still $200 less at $799 possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love the Pro. I didn't necessarily like the price.
No,
But
that was the problem with that cab. It was overpriced. If that cab was $799, I don't think it would have had as much hate.
and if it had the better controls in it at that price, I mean, they took some concessions that they could have given you at that price that they didn't.
I can't remember exactly what the issues with the controls were, but it was supposed to have like what was it, HAP controls, and they went with some kind of really weird, cheaper version of like professional controls that the responses were really weird. People were having trouble playing with them.
Yeah, they weren't able to execute their moves. I don't execute any of those moves. I just like
You just play a saber wolf and claw the shit out of people.
I just smash the buttons until you died. But I did switch out mine to one of the ILs. I actually had two ILs, but I never installed the Player 2 because I put one in so I could try it out and see what the difference was, and it never really mattered too much to me, and I just never got around to putting the second one in, which one day I'll do.
So now that you've seen these demos, we're still waiting on Moat. Moat has a bunch of videos planned. Like component video was done really well, gave a lot of insights. I got a lot of information out of it. So looking forward to see what else he does and eventually his review. Hopefully we'll see some more footage from Kevin as well. Seeing this, do you regret not pre-ordering now, Carl?
I do regret, because I always tell you, I have my Big Blue and I am not a big fan of that. I bought Big Blue because I can play online, but then quickly determined that online is not for me. And so I would have, and a lot of people like the Big Blue, so I could sell it for something, and get some money back from what if I would have bought this. So I should have bought this and then got rid of this Big Blue. And if I got this, I could easily, if I wanted to, just put my Pi from my original modded Street Fighter and just have the cabinet size. The cabinet size is what I want. Even though Big Blue is technically taller, it's skinnier and it's just a weird shape to me. Again, I have no personal experience. I didn't go into the arcades and like, oh, let me get on the Big Blue and kick somebody's butt, right? You know what I mean? So I don't have that nostalgic type of thing for Big Blue. To me, it's just Street Fighter, and I have Street Fighter, playing other ways. So that would be the first cabinet that leaves my house, even over Tempest. And if I could have this in place of even those two, I would be in a good place.
So there's a couple questions here I want to respond to. One from Midlife Arcade. When's the extra stock going to drop? I think that's the question a lot of us are asking right now. For the dumb people that regret not pre-ordering, there is some additional stock from the first order coming out. We're all wondering when they're going to go up for sale. I mean, these aren't getting here till April 24th. So I would assume sometime around end of April, early May is when we're going to see the extra stock. That's my guess. Stanzy B asks, how are people outside the community going to find out about Street Fighter to buy it? Need to get in stores or start a marketing campaign, or we will never get the other 15 iconic cabs. So I would say that one that's on Spreetail or whoever the retailer is. Like, Iconic works with the seller or whatever it is to then get them in storefronts. They've got to have a sales force, but I don't think we know, even though Iconic's tied to Lenovo, how small of a business it is. Like, I just don't think they're at that point right now where they have this like massive sales force. I think it's John, a couple people helping them, this guy Pieter from Lenovo, and that's about it. And they're relying very heavily on Spreetail to move this product along. And right now, the Street Fighter and the first Iconic arcade that came out was really a word of mouth campaign.
Yeah, I think these would do well in a micro center for sure.
Yeah.
People would love to get these and DIY and put this together. Clearly, if they put these in a Sam's Club or Costco, they will sell. We make a big deal of the name brands, but like that Basic Fun, nobody knows what the heck Basic Fun is when they walk into Sam's Club. Sam's Club. And if they are fans of WrestleFest and those other games on there, they're going to buy it. So you got to get these in front of people's eyes in order for the opportunity to exist. And people go in those stores aren't hesitating. And like in your case, like the Brick and those other around the country, they have those furniture stores, so those home entertainment stores that sell furniture and big TVs and all that stuff. You got to get those things into those stores to really get to the masses. I would hope to see that they get there.
So here's another question, Carl, that I want to get to because I really think this is a very interesting description. If I wanted a big multicade, I'd get an FU. So obviously, if you just want a multicade, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe the FU is a better option. Like if you don't give a shit about the nostalgia, you just want an arcade to play on. Obviously, the FU makes the most sense out of everything because, you know, it comes custom black. You can put custom art on it, whatever you want to do with it. It's got different control panel options. It's got a bigger screen. It's got an open, more powerful processor in it. You can switch the screen orientation. I mean, yeah, of course, it makes more sense to get an FU. But what people miss and what people don't understand and think there's a battle between these two products, these products aren't competing. They're complementary. The people that are buying these recreation arcades, the majority, they're not buying them for a multicade. They're buying them for nostalgia, right?
Right. And they're buying them for the look. I mean, you give Glenn a hard time about his original shape of the.
Oh, it's not original.
Of the Build-A-Cade. I'm talking about the Build-A-Cade, the or unique shape, or whatever words you want to choose. And those things matter. Those things matter. If you have a choice between a standard black, or even like these multi-Ks you buy online, they have all these crazy graphics with like every conceivable cartoon character or arcade character on it, just plastered with the big word arcade or multicade on it. For some people, those things don't matter, but to other people, the appearance of the cabinet, because they got to put this in there, they got to put this in the house. For a lot of people, they have to get their wife to agree or their mate to agree that this monstrosity is going to coexist in our house, in our dining room or living room or family room or wherever it's going to go. And those things really matter when you have to go through those filters to get it into your house. And on the other token, you can say, well, if it's just black, then it blends in more, right? So those things are going to help people decide which one they're going to get outside of what the cabinet actually does. The aesthetics of the cabinet matters, and it's going to matter differently to different people.
All right, so this is a picture from Mike of All Trades. Now, Mike of All Trades is showing an updated picture of his iconic arcade. So thank you very much, Neo Arcades News, for pointing this out, and for our buddy Neo for sending me a message telling me about this. So let me just bring this up on screen if I can, for God's sakes. Why is it not showing? Son of a... Okay, so let me take this down. That'll be the first one. Take this, add this to screen. So there's a better look at the bezel on the actual iconic. So that looks
the same. That looks the same as the other one.
But it doesn't have the piece underneath. I think that's what people were missing, and it might be due to the low resolution images. But this is plexiglass directly on the screen compared to the original iconic arcade they showed off at CES. Had a little piece underneath that created a bevel look underneath the screen.
Yeah, I mean, if people can visualize, if you have a big photograph framed and is border to border versus if you have a border, it makes a difference in the presentation of it.
Yeah,
it just does.
Well, it gives it that old CRT look, right? Because around the CRTs, they had those bevels. So it was a really cool look that made it look like a classic arcade. I just really like that. I'm missing that with the current one. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just, I think one looked better.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like when you're sitting there kicking your boy's butt is going to matter. You know what I mean? You're still going to be having fun. You're still going to be kicking their butt or getting your butt kicked to whichever side you're on the fence of that. These are just nitpicky type of things. There's just observations. They're just observations of things that are different between what, was there in the prototype versus the final production. So there's no right or wrong answer. People's preferences are going to be different. You're just merely pointing out some things that you noticed and whether it appealed to you or not.
100%, Carl. Thank you very much. And we've never had a situation like this before because we've had pre-orders delayed. But when was the last time we ever had a product that so drastically changed in terms of what you actually pre-ordered compared to what the final product was by the time it came out?
Yeah,
It's very unique.
And that's one of the things that most people's argument was like, hey, we saw this thing so far back and now it's coming up and I got a pre-order in. I've not had an opportunity to see what I'm actually getting, right?
Yeah.
For all that time. Now they finally do have a chance to see, because that still gives people opportunity. If for some reason they didn't like it, they can pull out. I think that would be a terrible thing, because once you change your mind again, now you're at the higher price. You're never going to get it at this price. And at this price, you can't argue. You can't argue with nothing in the presentation of this thing at that price, or even the new price.
$550. No, sir.
yeah, that's an outstanding cabinet. It's going to look beautiful in your space. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have fun with it. And I can't wait to see what happens with it, because it's a pie. They might have it locked down, but people have very great talents out here in
mystery
community.
encoder we trust.
Right. And even if you decide just to take out whatever they have in there and put your own pie in there, you have so many options with this cabinet. All these parts are going to be compatible with whatever you do. So you can't, again, I've modded many and I've had to jump through all kinds of hoops to get these things work. This thing is going to work with whatever choices people take. So as a modder, this is a no-brainer cab to do. Glenn's thing is more like, I'm happy with what I'm getting. I think you would mod this before you would mod a FU for certain.
So Neo's confirming what I said earlier. This is actual confirmation instead of my guess. He's saying that extra stock is right after the pre-orders arrive, per Kevin. So that's the time frame I said. So sometime between April 24th and when they launch in May. Dragot says, "Are you getting a Street Fighter XT?" That's my intention. I've been talking to Kevin through text and just making sure I can still get it with free shipping, because if not, I might not get it, because it's going to cost a fortune to get it to Canada. So we'll see. Uncle Alan is here. Mike, I'm late. What have I missed? We just talked about the Iconic Arcade, the good news and stuff like that. And we're going to move on in a minute and talk about talk about our good friends at Wonderland Amusements, because they did some good stuff too. B. Kirby is here in the house. He and Jay Pace did an excellent job. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Probably even more exciting to me last week was, we got all these looks at it, and it was cool to see, Moat get the demo unit and Kevin get a demo unit. I don't know how Moat's works. I'm not sure if Moat paid for his or not, but these are early units shipped to them. But hearing the pre-order holders afterwards and their excitement, that's really what got me excited. So it was B Kirby and Jay Pace. They went on James Hates Everything show, and seeing their initial excitement from that as a pre-order holder, that's what really won me over that night. That was really cool to see these guys walk away from it and be like, I'm in love with it. I'm so happy I actually pre-ordered one.
Now, is there a Iconic forum group on Facebook that people are joining?
Yes. There's a Iconic Arcade fan page that I started as a joke when the really crappy Canadian Iconic Arcade came out. And that's where mainly people go to, I guess.
Nice. Because I can tell you, I started the Wonderland Amusement fan page, and it's just been exciting just seeing everybody as they come on, get theirs built, and you know what I mean. So I'm sure that the same thing's going to happen on that page when people start getting them in their house and building them and sharing ideas. It's going to be a fun place to be.
So Tim, this is what I've been dealing with, because I'm pointing out this stuff and then people are like, "Why are you hating?" I'm not poo-pooing the wooden construction. I'm bringing up a point that prefabrication costs money. So it actually is a money saver for a lot of these small at-home companies, or maybe Iconic Arcade, instead of going with a prefabricated plastic mold for certain places to go with wood. That doesn't mean that that's a knock on Iconic for using wood, or that it's a bad thing. The wood and the stability of everything is probably going to be better, and a lot of people are really happy with it. Got to defend myself so much, Carl.
Or you can just ignore the comment and keep on going. So
I could, but I like Tim York. I just wanted to make sure he knew what I was saying. All right, Carl. So I wanted to switch gears and talk about the other big reveal. Well, no, before I did that, I did want to talk about what's next for Iconic Arcade, what we're assuming based on everything we've seen so far. Now that this is coming out right around the corner, are we going to get a pre-order for Iconic Arcade Double Dragon?
I'm a big fan of Double Dragon. You know, my iArcade, I went with the Double Dragon theme for that. And I don't even really play Double Dragon a whole lot. But I like, you know, it's just one of those things like pole position. When I hear that sound, it takes me places, right? And
Yeah.
when I see Double Dragon, and I know I was going to have all kinds of different games on here, right? Because it's a multi-cade, so it didn't really matter. I had to pick something for the outside, and Double Dragon was a no-brainer for me.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm definitely a big fan of.
for the what was it, the gold edition iArcade, I went with Dead Cells just because it was the prettiest looking cab, in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one I'm really super excited about. This is a new cab to the community, even though we got the iArcade. No, I didn't think you were jumping on me. More our friend 19K Fox last night. I got here late. No worries, Tim York. I just wanted to make sure you knew my point. But yeah, so the Double Dragon cab, you know, even though we got iArcade Double Dragons, they weren't really Double Dragon cabs, right? They were just aired on a multi-cade. This is a dedicated Double Dragon cab, and unlike, you know, some of my problems with the original Street Fighter, because they got creative with the artwork, and that's fine. People like it. It's not my cup of tea, but the majority of people prefer it. I love what they did here, recreating the original arcade. This speaks to me so much, and I have a personal history with this arcade too, so that's why it means so much. So I'm all in on Double Dragon. I love the original Double Dragon arcade game. Love Double Dragon 2. Hate Double Dragon 3. It's the worst thing in the world, but the rest of the Technos beat 'em ups and stuff like that are really fun. So I'm very excited for this. The next question is, when is it going to be available? We heard John D talk a couple times. He said there might be multiple cabs coming from Iconic Arcade in 2026. He said he's doing at least 2 80s cabs this year, with this being one of them. So you would have to assume if he's doing multiple cabs, we should get a pre-order for this relatively soon after the original Street Fighter comes out.
Yeah, this is an interesting choice. I like Double Dragon. I like my cabinet. Um, I would have preferred to see something like a Punisher or something like that. Would have been a really cool cabinet. But again, you have to have another one come out, and licensing is under consideration, right? I would prefer a Tekken. You know, if they made a Tekken cab, I would buy it, and me and my wife would just have to discuss them the same way we had to have a tough discussion about my Meta glasses that she thought the people was going to hack in and be able to see all around the house. And you know, some discussions are just worth having, you know, and you just have to better to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? So Tekken, that would be something I would just we're going to deal with the consequences because I'm getting it day one. Double Dragon again, I definitely am a fan, but I don't know that it would have been my second cabinet to come out with.
Oh, John's a big fan of this game series, and he's got that relationship with Arc System Works. So I think that's a big reason for me. I'm in love with it because it's something new, Carl. Like we've all been clamoring for something new.
Mhm.
I mean, what does John do? Do something else that Arcade 1-Up has done to death? I think this is the right call.
I get it. Again, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have. And I get that, you know, Mortal Kombat probably would have been more popular, but again, people have more Mortal Kombat cabinets, right? And who are you tailoring to, at least for the initial launch with this? It is the diehards, right? You
Yeah.
know, the people who have multiple cabinets. These cabinets, I don't believe these are made specifically for the masses. Now they want to sell them to the masses, right? But like we help get Arcade 1-Up to make better cabinets. They know putting this through the filter that is this community is going to help them do better on everything they produce afterwards, considering they can do it within the price range. So I get that. They got to get something that people are going to get that they don't have access to. And so I know why.
Yeah.
Again, me, if I can be self, I always talk about everything's not about us. You know what I mean? If I could be selfish for a moment, yeah, I would have some other options, but I definitely don't have a problem with this cabinet at all.
Well, I'm going to be selfish because it's my money what I'm buying, right? So I'm going to buy what I want to buy, and in extent, I'm fair, but I'm also biased because of what I want for myself. I really like this cab. Have there been any changes? Bill's Retro Gaming Show asked earlier up in the chat. That's one of the things I'm concerned with because I think this cab is perfect. I don't think they should do anything else with it. I mean, it's got 6 buttons, which is not ideal because it's a three button cab originally, but they made those black, which is going to blend into the control panel nicely. They recreated that Taito side artwork. I really hope they didn't do anything else with this. I think this cab is a stunner. Leave it there, and then the question is, how much will it be? I'm guessing that $799 price point is going to be the new norm for Iconic Arcade XTs going forward.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. And I know the backlit marquee is going to look beautiful.
Oh yeah.
This thing again, this will blend into any household with the color choice. I like the build size. I would put a real coin door on mine for certain. But I love where they're going. I am glad to see that their products that come to market. I'm excited for them to get their next cabinet out, and I'm excited to see what comes after that. So I hope they're successful. I hope they continue to pump these cabinets out. I hope that people continue to buy these things because I talked about this all the time. 2018, I had stacks of boxes of, of stuff I bought in the past. Decorating my area. Everybody should have a home arcade, whether it's one cabinet, two cabinets, but I think everybody should have that cabinet they can be able to walk up to. We have all these different consoles and handhelds and all these other different ways to play, but I think everybody deserves to have a cabinet. And again, it doesn't have to be a full size. It don't have to be a real, arcade from somebody's dusty store, that's 30, 40 years old. But they need a cabinet in their home that they can walk up to and play games. It's just a great feeling to be able to do that. People come over, man, they're just excited and they hop from cabinet to cabinet, trying out everything. They love it. Everybody needs to have that experience.
I want to invite my buddy Dave over, who had the original arcade in his house when he was a kid, and play Double Dragon through with him again. I think that'd be super fun, right? And the idea of playing this online with someone else makes me very happy. MG here to spread my sparkle. MG says, less arcades the better. He disagrees with you, Carl. And shout out to my buddy Chaotic BPR. I'm Bimmy. I love that old ABGN joke. He got the reference. I appreciate it, man. On our last show, Kevin indicated Double Dragon was in development and they just want to get a couple weeks of feedback on Street Fighter before DD. Yeah, that's a fair time frame. I think that's a good idea. Get some creative feedback, and then if there's anything that needs to be changed, you can do it. But that's a good timeline, Neo. Good. Yeah, Dave doesn't exist. No, no, 35 years of my life were a lie, MG. You're right. Idiot. All right. So anyways, that's next from Iconic Arcade. Finally, Carl, we can switch over to the topic you're really here to talk about. Alice Goes to Wonderland Kickstarter kicked ass. The majority of backers seem extremely happy with what they've purchased. The machine plays well, no issues. People are happy with it. Good quality components and build. I think I only saw one issue with the build itself where people were saying they couldn't get their play field to go down. And I think Multicade Matt actually put a video out to help people with that. The art, everything looks good. And most importantly, pinball and arcade expert. This is a person that was front and center saying he hated arcade one-ups, the home arcade genre. Actually loved this device. He loved the Alice Goes to Wonderland pinball machine, and that is Todd Tuckey from TMNT Amusements with decades of experience in the pinball world. So Alice Goes to Wonderland had a great first week out in the public. Wouldn't you agree, Carl?
Absolutely. And they had success right out the gate with the launch of the Kickstarter, met their goal in 2 minutes. people have been excited. There's no way you can be excited and be a fan of pinball and this thing not capture your interest, right? If you love pinball, no matter how much you love it, you you don't love forking out 10 grand, right? Um, you have to fork out 10 grand because you love it. So for anybody that loves pinball, this is going to have your interest. You're going to be curious. Will this be successful? Will this thing be able to do what they sell it? Will it be able to do what they sold you on, right? Um, and a lot of people say, hey, at the minimum, if I could pay $1,000 and have this that I can put my kids on, or people that are interested in my real cabinets, right? But you cannot be a fan of pinball and not want these guys to be successful, because whether you're spending the big money like that or not, if you can spend less of it and get a great product, who wouldn't be interested?
I remember being at Pinball Expo and hearing some of the Stern employees talk about it. They were like, I think it's really cool what they're doing, coming out in a small scale. They were really interested in what Wonderland Amusements were doing. And so far, the response has been very positive. I want to say thank you so much, Uncle Alan Arcade 1978, for joining the Michael B. the Game Genie membership. Got to do a little bit of work with that in the next little while. I keep saying this and never do it, but I will do it. Quick comment here to spread my sparkle, MG. Redneck Village. No, you know yourself. We both grew up on a hill. Therefore, we are hillbillies. If you want to insult me, at least get it right. I regret not getting this. Maybe it'll be on eBay soon. Ooh, Thumper Squib. We're going to talk about that because Steve Sale is dropping some hits. This is now on Walmart online. So I did want to bring that up. So it's been available through their website for pre-order ever since this first went up. I got to take this one down to get this to work. So let me add this to stage. So this is now currently available to order directly from their website with the purchase price that's skyrocketed up to $1,199. But there are other options out there. A lot of people were upset because not all the Kickstarter backers have received theirs yet. And this had gone up for sale from Spreetail on eBay for $999, 2-day shipping, or 1 day to 2 day shipping. Spreetail's dynamic pricing, whatever you want to call it, has gone into effect, and that price has now jumped up another $100. So the price on eBay is now $1,099.99. So it's $100 more than it previously was because of Spreetail's dynamic gouging pricing. just joking there. Their dynamic pricing model. But it comes in at a very interesting time because, like Steve said, also now available on Walmart, sold through Spreetail. So you can also get it for the same price. Available on Walmart right now, $1,099.99 for the people missed out on the pre-order. But it's still a tough pill to swallow, Carl. You know, like you, who Bekong screwed out of your early bird pre-order for $799. Now, if you're interested in getting this, you're paying $300 more.
Yeah, and I said at the time when I let my pledge go, I said, I want this thing to be successful. I want it to come to market, and if I pay you a little bit more for it, so be it. As long as it came to market, because even at this price, you still can't get another mechanical pinball.
I'm really shocked that you didn't get one of these. Like, you are the biggest fan of jumping in and supporting new products, and you seem so interested in this. You got to explain it to me. How did you decide not to go ahead with your Kickstarter on this? I know you knew they hit their goals, so they didn't need your support, and that was one of the reasons you gave. But what was the big reason that got you to move away from this?
Well, the rumor started talking about the Turtles one. I believe that was the defining thing. I'm sure I had a post somewhere. I would have to go back to because I think I did a long drawn out, probably a live show that talked about it, but I don't recall exactly. But the main thing was they didn't need me. And again, I really don't know. I can't remember, Michael B.
We'd have to go back and look.
I had to go. Yeah, I had to go look at my the live show that I talked about in detail. But it wasn't because I didn't believe in them. It wasn't because I didn't think the product was going to do well.
Was it fear your wife was going to beat the shit out of you?
No, because I could have snuck it in. She wouldn't have saw it until at least 4 or 5 months.
This whole thing?
Yeah, this whole thing. What are you talking about? This thing's been here. Where you been? You know? So no, that wasn't an issue. Yeah, every time she comes down here, she's always looking. She don't even say anything. She just walks around just looking because you know it's gonna be something new down here. It's always something new down here, and that's never gonna change. Um, she wants me to get the basement finished, but I know if I
Yeah.
finish it, then she's going to come down here. She doesn't come down here.
My
So
wife is always coming up with ideas. She's like, "Man, we should redo the kitchen." And I'm like, "Buy another pinball machine." I agree. Alan Arcade, $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much, brother. You think Wonderland good pin? Everything I've seen so far has been positive. Thank you very much for the super chat. That is, except for this early coverage. So let's talk about some of the negative things that did come up the first week. Again, like I'm trying to be fair here, very positive Wonderland experience. But one of the things that has been a negative has been the fact that the playfield is on this plexiglass sheet. It's a plexiglass sheet with the art printed on bottom of it, and people have been having some issues. We know about the famous Beacon coverage with the diffuser that was popping up that you were part of, Carl. What a poor disaster for Alice Goes to Wonderland there. Other people have been reporting a little bit of a warp in the playfield because the posts have been screwed down too tight. So that hasn't been the best experience, but luckily it's been few and far between. One of the other things that kind of sucks, we just covered it a little bit, the price increase to $11.99. I mean, the idea of this was sub $1,000 pinball, and we're already up so much, which is kind of out of their control with the tariff situation. It sucks. Some other things that came up during the first week, customer support or lack of, anybody that did have an issue really struggled to get help or some kind of answer from Wonderland Amusements. They were not available. We don't know if that's Wonderland or if Spreetail was supposed to be handling customer support. No one knows. And then the last question is, these are custom parts. They're all a little bit smaller. They were supposed to have a replacement part store available. If anything goes wrong, how easy is it going to be able to fix this machine?
yeah, I'm looking at the website now. No parts available, just the pinball table and a couple of the 3D sculptured parts. Yeah, they said that they be day one that they would have that up. So I'm not sure why that's not the case. But yeah, they did have a little rough start. And again, it's the most of the things that people reported on, I think you can expect. Um, the same way we had with Arcade One Up and other makers when you having people at varying degrees of technical skills, and then use of tools, putting something together, inevitably you're going to have some complaints, right? Because people are going to overlook some steps, or they didn't document some steps well, like the one piece where those posts are. People were like, I can't get my thing down. Oh, well, you didn't take the posts out because those posts were just there for shipping, but they didn't mention that in the instructions. So inevitably you're going to have some issues with people having to assemble. The great thing about it is I have not heard of anybody that have received damaged parts.
Yeah,
I have not heard of a single person. So that is fantastic. So they pack those things well.
One person with an issue that would come from potentially a damaged part. We talked about it on Super Game Room Dudes, the individual that showed the video of his machine constantly scoring. So it seems like rubber was too tight or something.
They had a zip tie that was holding the wires down, and it was too taut. He cut that loose and just moved the wires around. He didn't even put another grip tie on it, so that was easy. Again, these are things that just happen, right? Whoever was in charge of doing that part just squeezed the zip tie too tight, and those type of things that you just don't know until you get them in people's hands and people start assembling. So again, overall, there was no major issues. The thing that B Kong discovered, that was, I think, biggest the biggest issue, because it just required you to disassemble this thing. And for most people, you're going past their comfort level. You're going past their comfort level of they already was overwhelmed with this project, right? 2.5 hours is what probably the average is for most people who haven't put anything together. Initially I thought it was just because people that's filming is going to take a little longer, but no, that's about the average time, about 2.5 hours for just the average person to do. Looking at the instructions, make sure you're not missing anything. Uh, People have not had major issues, so that's a great win for them. But when you pull that play field, that thing's got some nice weight to it. You're putting up there, you're looking at all these wires and things like, do I touch this and that? That's overwhelming for the most newbies at putting something together. And to have the thought of having to unscrew that and then put that thing back together with all those pieces would be something that most people would not want to tackle if they can avoid it.
That's true, but Cammy brings up a really good point here. When I bought my Stern Jurassic Park, they threaded a bolt straight through a flipper wire, causing it to always short out. And this is true. Like, this is pinball ownership. I bought a brand new in-box Godzilla Premium. I got it. I had a myriad of issues. Like, basically, it was DOA on arrival. I had to do a ton of technical support that I didn't want to do because it was all outside my comfort level. But this is part of what you're dealing with when you're dealing with real mechanical pinball. You're going to run into these issues, and that's not necessarily on Wonderland Amusements, because any pinball company is going to run into that stuff. I'm sure people are getting their Pokemons right now from Stern. They're getting their Beetlejuices from Spooky. They're running into the same issues. Trust me. Reverman Retro did say he received a damaged one, and he has pictures to prove it. Carl.
Oh, we'll put it up on the Facebook. Wonderland fan page. Yeah, again, I hadn't heard of it until that time. But again, everybody that's receiving them aren't going online, and
you're not getting the usual hate like how At Games has like separate fan pages just to speak out. Now, most of that is caused by At Games not allowing any constructive criticism on their own Facebook page, but it exists, right?
Yeah, and yeah, make sure you put, because I'm sure they can learn from that what was damaged. And again, you have boxes going through the shipping process. If we saw what happened to our boxes when they're in their people's hands, you see those things with luggage, and you see the things that people do with your luggage when you don't have it. I'm sure these shipping and something that heavy. And a lot of these truck drivers, they don't have dollies. I see people get out their truck and they have no idea how heavy this thing is,
guys, right?
until they do it. Like, oh, now I'm committed to carrying this thing, and it's just ridiculous. They should have a dollies on those trucks. It makes absolutely no sense. But I get that the majority of the packages that they're delivering are little, small, tiny, light things. When you come across something massive like that with that type of weight on it, yeah. And people complain, they just do better FedEx, so they left it like in the middle of their driveway. Hell, they were lucky for it to get that far, because they don't have dollies.
Yeah, I felt so bad. Like, I wonder how Iconic's going to ship, because that's 140 pounds, right? I'll go back to Iconic for a second. I will tell you that my WrestleFest Supreme cab came from FedEx, and I think that one's like 70 pounds, 60, 70 pounds, something like that. And that box was destroyed by the time it made it to me from Boca Raton, Florida to here. And just amazing packaging inside. Everything came perfect, even though the box was destroyed on the outside. So really interesting. Moving on to the very next game, we got a early preview of this thanks to the people that went to Pinball Expo last year. Wonderland Amusements kind of surprised people because they're going with a licensed title for their very next game, and a pretty big name too, the World of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, Carol, what do you think of this? Is this a pinball franchise that you think is going to probably appeal to more people? I heard a lot of people say they love what Wonderland Amusements are doing, just they weren't into the Alice theme. Is TMNT more palatable to these people?
Yeah, I definitely, this appeals to me more. I was intrigued by Alice in Wonderland, but and what it was interesting to see how they was going to pull that off. But I can already hear call outs with this, with TMNT. I can already sense it has some expectations of what I want from this game. Now that could be a total fail if they don't get that right. You know what I mean? But I'm excited. The same way I love Spider-Man. I don't know if you ever played Stern Spider-Man, not the home edition, but the regular Spider-Man. That thing is so fun with the call outs and everything about that cabinet. If you ever get a chance to play Spider-Man by Stern, man, it's a really fun
I've played
table.
Yeah,
Kevin.
really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a good mix of characters in there, right? And they just do a great job. I'm just envisioning them doing something similar because you can have so much fun with this cabinet here, um, and that's why I'm hoping this one that is even better received. Not that the Alice in Wonderland isn't well received. I think that a lot of people will like this particular cabinet.
I actually love the theme. I didn't think I would. Like, this is not something that Alice Goes to Wonderland is not something that's, a big part of my life or something I would love to have. But looking at the artwork, the way they put the playfield together, all that stuff, they actually did a great job. I have no complaints about that.
Yeah, it looks
So
beautiful.
if I didn't have, two Stern pinball machines, I probably would have been a day one backer of this. But I was just like, I've got real pinball. I don't have the need that other people do. And, space and money is limited. I'm sorry. It is. That's the truth. I think someone said, Midlife Arcade said, I wonder if they'll just repro the Dead East one. They won't do that. I talked to him about that because I thought that was the future of Wonderland Amusements. I thought, oh, maybe they're going to do like miniature versions of like Williams games or something like that. And I talked to them and they said they have zero interest in recreating a bigger pinball in this form factor because they said it's always going to be compared. And yeah, I think other thing, looking at the world of TMNT, I don't think they're going with the cartoon artwork or anything new. This looks like more mature Eastman and Laird type artwork here. I think you're going to get like a very, stylized look, not cartoony look for this version of TMNT as well, which, good and bad. Looking at it there, it looks very similar to kind of the movie dynamic as well.
Yeah, I hope the color selections are a lot brighter than what this is here. This looks pretty dull. But again, I know once they start, I don't know. Now, will they do Kickstarter again for this, or will it just come out retail?
I don't know. I mean, they've just signed on with Solutions to Go. They've got up on Walmart now and a couple other places, so they may go directly to retail. I wouldn't think it's a bad idea to do Kickstarter again. I think that it's a good way to advertise your product, get it out there, guarantee your sales. So, yeah, that artwork is from the IDW Comics. Thank you very much, Amiga Cami. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, so we'll see. I would imagine that now that their first release is out, we should get some more information about this, probably by Pinball Expo. I'd say we're waiting till at least maybe October before we get any official information on when we can pre-order this and what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and it's similar to what we talked about the previous cabinet by Iconic Arcades. They're gonna gather and learn from this release, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. Any places where they can improve on manufacturing, improve on packing. So that person that indicated they had a damage, they definitely want to get those pictures up and get that information out there so that they can learn from it. So I think they have enough time in here to be able to find and tweak this next product and make it better.
Well, here's where I get my normal a pick on Jerry moment. The hubris of Jerry thinking that he could develop a pinball game, not knowing pinball ever. He'd probably just be like, well, why do we need comic book artists? I can draw it myself. Doesn't look that bad. You don't need to be a comic book artist to draw these. I love giving Jerry a hard time about that because usually with pinball, you want to go with somebody that's got some experience in pinball. But to his credit, he was right. He could do a very good job, and he did, and people are pretty happy with it. It's very simple. That's one of the things that's coming back from people. The rule set, modes, and everything are super simple, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either for people first getting into pinball. So as long as it's fun, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to what the modding community is going to be able to do with that software and what changes and improvements they're going to be able to do, or even make totally different games from the same table. So I'm excited for that aspect of it.
Well, that's the other thing that was really interesting, where this is so simple and so basic. Like, honestly, if you rip up that plexiglass, you can use it as a shell to build your own pinball game because there's no art on the bottom. So you can rip that up, put your own art on it, just, rework everything and make your own pinball out of this. Honestly, the coding is apparently pretty simple too.
Right. Yeah. And I'm just saying from a coding aspect, there's so much you can do with that. I mean, you still have all the physical pieces, but what they do and how much they add up and the objectives can be changed pretty easily for people that have the skill sets for it.
MG, here to spread my sparkle, MG said he once called me just to laugh at me because I bought a Honda Pilot. Mike B is out of touch. That is a lie. That's actually the opposite. I said that my friend Justin had bought a Honda Pilot, and I said it was a nice vehicle. Then MG insulted me and said it's not a nice vehicle, and then talked about all the vehicles he had and the extensive collection of in-box arcades he had in his garage. So MG is a liar. Peter said the TMNT would be the same price. So we're looking at $10.99, $11.99. It looks like TMNT, which is a good thing because, this is licensed. So there's additional costs included, and you're getting a licensed title for the same title, same price as what they were releasing their first game as. So, Carl, anything else you want to say about Wonderland Amusements before we close it up for the night?
Just want to say I'm excited. I'm excited for both these products. I'm excited for the opportunities that they have put themselves in. I wish them both success. I'm looking forward to their next product, the one that's in queue, and the one after that. I'm a big fan of home arcades, man. I think the more the merrier. The more players we have out here. I'm excited for the possibility of competition for Wonderland. Yeah. For other people seeing that this is a model that works, that people are willing to fork down the cash for, and I hope to see some other people emulate that success, and so even some new players that come along, or even some of the mainstream players in the pinball world. I'm excited for where pinball is heading based on the success of this cabinet.
So I want to read this comment from Scott Bomer, and I'll bring this up. Both companies are way more exciting than Arcade 1-Up 2.0, and I understand where that's coming from because I think a lot of people were maybe not as excited as what they were hoping to be because of Toy Fair. But I think the thing to remember from the Toy Fair announcements is that's not everything they have planned for this year. That's not their full fall lineup. So there's still some surprises out there. If there wasn't something at Toy Fair that, tickled your fancy, there might still be more stuff. I think the positive to take away from it is even though you might not have got what you wanted at Toy Fair, it's the fact that they're doing more. They announced 2 Supreme Series cabs coming new this year, XL cabs. So for people of bigger arcades, that's a positive, man. Winning. So that's a good thing. And the fact that hobby is moving on, again, a positive. Like we got 3 relatively cool companies. Then on the multicade side, we've got At Games. Who knows what's happening with them, but At Games doing their pinball and their ALU. Plus you've got Glenn coming out with the awesome GRS Build-A-Cade FU. So, I mean, home arcade is moving in a good direction. And that's from all the companies in my perspective. Like, this is a good time. It's the first time in a long time I've been really positive about the overall whole home arcade spectrum and excited about what these companies are doing.
Absolutely.
So I put a poll up, Carl, and I always forget about it, but I'm going to close the poll now. I put it up 8 hours ago. We got 180 votes. The question was, now that we have seen both these products hands-on, which product are you interested in? So I apologize if you didn't get a chance to vote, but I'm going to bring it up now. Votes are closed. So right now, their choices were Iconic Arcade, Street Fighter XT, Alice Goes to Wonderland Pinball. I want both of them or still not interested. And the winner by a narrow margin was Iconic Arcade, Street Fighter XT. Made the biggest impression with people. And people are most interested in that, coming in at 38%. Surprisingly, coming in second, the negative crowd saying still not interested, 31%. Alice Goes to Wonderland came in third with 18%, and I Want Both of Them came in last with 13%. I'm in the FOMO phase right now with these. Like, I'm so impressed with seeing the Kickstarter backers' reactions of getting their pinball and how they like them. So impressed with seeing, what Kevin showed off on Arcade Insiders and what Moda showed off so far. I want both of them. I'm not going to lie. I do. I can't afford to buy both of them, but I kind of do. I kind of want the, I'm definitely moving towards the Iconic Arcade XT as long as I can still get that free shipping. I'm in on that. Alice Goes to Wonderland. I'm not going to lie. I've been picking at it. And, if it didn't jump up to $11.99, I might have probably ordered one already.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm super excited for both. I actually had the eBay in my cart. I had my mega viral video last month here,
Yeah.
and made
A
enough to
little bit
buy.
of cheddar. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have easily bought one or even both of them, but I ended up getting the meta glasses. I was gonna get a Quest 3. I'm like, my Quest 2 is still doing this work, so I just couldn't justify it. It didn't make any sense to me. It's like, and so I just kept the cash and just got the meta glasses. But I definitely had that in my the pinball in my cart on eBay. I was looking for coupons to get something off, but none of those working. But and I was already getting my story ready for my wife. I had to do it, but then I didn't, and now I see the price is up, so that changed it as well. But
I'm going to tell you something. I really hope. I know my wife doesn't watch my show, so I'm just hoping she doesn't overhear me. So I had money saved up to pay off this couch set that we bought last year, and I went to eBay, and I was going to buy it, but it came up. Unfortunately, it does not ship to Canada from eBay, so I was like, F. So then I went to the main website, and it was $200 more. So that's the reason I didn't get it. Luckily, I did put that money on the couch. The couch is paid off, so my wife won't kill me, but I don't have a pinball. But if I could have got it for $9.99 the other day, FOMO would have got the best of me. I would have got the Alice, in my opinion. And JJ wanted to bring up a point here about Mario Day is tomorrow, March 10th. And are there any good deals online? Nintendo deals are never all that great. So like there's a bunch of games that are in Canada $59.99 and then some that are $54.99. I'm looking at Mario and Luigi Brothership, but like I know I don't have time to play it, so I should just avoid it. But that's the only one I'm looking at. But if you're missing out on any of the mainline Mario games, I think they're $39.99 physical in the US. And then the other ones are $29.99. Nothing too exciting. The big excitement for me with Mario Day is being a Nintendo Switch Online member and having the Virtual Boy accessory. Tomorrow I get to play Mario Tennis and Mario Clash. So I'm excited about those. Carl, I can tell you're not. So
no, long as my Switch can play my golf, I don't need anything else. I saw something interesting, Michael B. They had a God of War 2D game that just recently came out. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was part of the last PlayStation Direct. It's like a Origins game. So it's Kratos before he was dead.
Yeah, I saw the title and I was excited. Then I saw the 2D. I'm like, why did he do this?
People like it though. It's not my cup of tea, but
yeah, it's not my cup of tea at all. I was like, come on, why'd they do that?
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, anyways, that's all from me tonight. I just kind of wanted to celebrate these two reveals this past week. I think it's been great. Looking forward to more coverage on the Iconic Arcade demo units from Kevin and the Arcade Insiders, and then also Mike of All Trades going to have tons of footage up. Go check out their channels and see what they've got in store for that. And all the people in the community, they've got your Wonderland Amusements pinballs. I've been trying to catch all the footage of it I can, like great reviews out there. B-Kong's done a ton of coverage. Multicade Matt's done some excellent coverage. I know my buddy Todd, Nerd Lounge Master, recently got his. Excited to see his coverage of it. So keep your eyes out for all the people doing that stuff. And I just wanted to say it's good that, this year-long process of since we first found out about these and the Kickstarters and pre-orders went live, we're finally seeing the end result, and the people that pre-ordered and the Kickstarter backers are happy with what they saw, and I'm getting FOMO, and that's exciting. It's been a long time since we've had a ton of excitement in this space that's justified, and it looks like it is here in this case.
Yeah, FOMO is back, baby.
FOMO is back. Anyways, Carl, just like Super Game Room dudes, you want to take us out?
Well, Michael B, I want to say thank you for finally allowing me to grace the presence on this second and main stage of yours. I had a lot of fun with you. Your chat was on fire, man. I love these products, man. I'm hoping these guys are great, and I hope you guys have a great week. And until next time, Michael B has another show. What, tomorrow?
No,
We'll
no
all
show
see
tomorrow.
you.
I got a lot of work to do this week. I don't think I'm going to get many videos done. We'll see.
We'll see. Is the right
Yeah,
word.
we'll see. I'll update. I didn't update anybody in a while on this. 2 weeks, no smokes. 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
There we
man.
go. So I got another. I think it's going to be about 2 months before it's officially official, and I'm on the path. But right now, I still miss smoking every day. I want to murder everybody. I get so angry, but I'm trying my best. So there you go.
Takes 40 days to establish a new habit, so keep it going,
Yeah.
and you'll get there, brother.
All right.
I'm
Anyways,
proud of you.
thanks, buddy. Anyways, good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll see you next time on Chill and Chat with Michael B. We're out of here. See you Friday, Carl.
For show.